He has been called the smartest man in the world, and now scientist Stephen Hawking is tackling some of the world's toughest questions. Do aliens exist? Is there really a God? Our Nick Watts sat down with him for a rare interview. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Robin. Well, this is it, the grand design. I am reading it slowly, I admit. And in here, Hawking and his co-author make a very, very bold statement. Apparently, our universe was created from nothing. Hawking writes in his book, it is not necessary to invoke God to light the blue touch paper and set the universe going. Can you prove that God does not exist, or just that the universe could have been created without one?
One can't prove that God doesn't exist, but science makes God unnecessary. The laws of physics can explain the universe without the need for a creator.
Because there is a law such as gravity, he writes, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. There was, Hawking says, no hand of God.
Now, I want to talk about causation, because last time I looked, causation is still at the very heart of science. But it's also at the heart of everything else. It's the heart of jurisprudence. Why did someone do something? Why did they do something wrong? What was the motive? Was there a motive to help establish whether whether a crime was or was not committed by a certain person? I hope this picture is not too cluttered, but if you will, look at the two boxes on the lower right. And first of all, think, moving from the right, the columns on the right side, that's the domain of our human experience. Okay? In the middle columns, that's the domain of law. On the far left, that's the domain of authority. Now, if some of you have better ideas, you can let me know on this. This is my take on it, okay, on how all of this works. How do we understand things? We begin with our experience. That's on the right side. And then we move to, well, what may be the laws that are governing those things? So we move by inference from experience to cause. And then what caused the cause? What's the prime cause? What's the first cause? So we come to the domain of authority. The materialist really only, their whole reality is encompassed simply in the lower two boxes on the right. Look at the material universe, X, Y, Z. So we have space, we have mass, we have energy. Somehow they assume coded information is there, just like was explained to us by Bob Inyart earlier, that the materialist has to begin with the assumption that something was already there with information. And then from that we infer physical laws. You drop the ball, measure how long it takes to drop, and so on. So you get the law of gravity. So we get physical laws by inferring. The materialist only lives in that domain, in the lower two right boxes. Did they deny everything else? Did they ignore it? But if you are dealing with the issues of human consciousness, purposeness and hope, morality, beauty, creativity, universal information, there's no one to show, no one has shown, and I believe no one will show, that all of these things are sourced in the material realm. They're housed in the material realm. I have hope and purpose, morality, beauty of my wife, okay. But these things are housed in the physical, but their source is not in the physical. It's in something that's a non-material entity, and that's the real point of it, okay. So where do those things come from? Well, so we start to look at, well, it seems there's a moral law. So we come to the domain of law, the domain of governance, in the non-material realm. Where does that come from? One God, we get that from the Bible. What about honor parents and don't steal and don't kill and well, don't covet. That's in the Bible. Maybe you wouldn't get that kind of from the natural man. But some of this, people know without ever having seen the Bible. Honor your parents, don't steal, don't murder. God gives us all a conscience. Where does that come from? Now, there's a well-known physicist whose physical ability is diminishing so much he has to sit in a machine and communicate through pushing buttons. And not so long ago, Stephen Hawking said, after many years talking around and nibbling around the edges of theology, he finally said, God's not necessary. We understand the laws of physics. We understand how gravity works. We understand how all of these other things. So it's really, my conclusion is, God is not necessary. Where was he in this diagram? Where was he in this diagram? He was in the center bottom law, the center bottom where it says the physical laws. He was completely ignoring the fact, where did the physical laws come from? Where does the law of gravity come from? Where does the law of magnetic attraction come from? Where do all these things come from? Everything we do work with, we use the law of causation. And from causation, we go backwards to inference. And he just stopped inferring because he just wanted to stop there. Don't stop there. Don't stop there, because both in the physical domain and in the non-physical domain, you follow the inference back and it comes to God. So we'll come back.